The sun rose over Willow Ridge Estates, a pristine suburban neighborhood where conformity reigned supreme. Every lawn was perfectly manicured, every mailbox identical, and every house painted in one of 3 HOA-approved shades. At the edge of this sea of sameness stood Old Man Grady's 5-acre farm, a stubborn holdout against the tide of suburban sprawl. His property was a beautiful mess, a weather-beaten red barn, rows of organic vegetables, a dozen clucking chickens, and an ancient tractor that had been repaired more times than Karen Whitmore had filed complaints. Grady, a grizzled but kind-hearted man in his late 60s, mostly kept to himself. He sold fresh eggs to neighbors, let kids pet his goats, and occasionally hosted barbecues that actually smelled like real food, instead of subdivision-approved charcoal briquettes. Most folks appreciated Grady's presence, except for Karen Whitmore, the HOA president. Karen was the kind of woman who used a laser measuring tool to ensure holiday decorations were perfectly symmetrical, had her HOA president title embroidered on her yoga pants, drove a white Lexus with the license plate "Rule for HOA," and she despised Grady's farm with the burning passion of 1,000 suns. Chapter 2. The Egg Conspiracy. The conflict escalated quickly after Karen spotted her own husband, Chad, buying eggs from Grady's roadside stand. "Chad Whitmore," Karen screeched, nearly swerving her Lexus into a mailbox. "Are you supporting this agricultural terrorist?" Ceased, a balding, henpecked man, who had long ago learned the art of silent suffering, sighed. "Honey, they're just eggs, and they're $3 cheaper than Whole Foods." Karen snatched the carton and dramatically smashed it on the pavement. "We don't consume non-HOA-approved poultry products. I'm calling an emergency board meeting." That evening, the HOA unanimously passed Ordinance 47B, Prohibition of Unauthorized Avian Commerce. Grady just chuckled and doubled his egg production. Making slight within the slight, Arthur one sown plan of there, Grady lekt some servant in the stites of Duranstony. Chapter 3. The Great Chicken Raid. Karen wasn't done. She called county code enforcement, claiming Grady's chickens were creating excessive noise pollution. They clucked, emitting unlawful odors. They existed. Possibly communist. This was never explained. When that failed, she took matters into her own hands. One moonlit night, Karen, dressed in all black and wearing the pigs, thinking she was bringing food, chased her in circles. Grady found her covered in mud, screaming at a rooster. He helped her up, handed her a fresh egg and said, "Ma'am, I believe you've been out poultried." Chapter 4. The Storm and the Betrayal. Then came the historic flood, the kind that only happens when karma and meteorology team up. Willow Ridge's $500,000 Italian-designed drainage system, Karen's pet project, failed spectacularly. Meanwhile, Grady's old farm ditches, which Karen had called medieval eyesores, saved his land. As Karen's Lexus floated down the street like a very expensive canoe, she made a shocking discovery. Half the HOA board, including her own husband, were sheltering in Grady's barn, eating his famous apple pie. Chad finally spoke up. "Honey, maybe we've been wrong about Grady." The other board members nodded while chewing. Chapter 5. The Sweetest Revenge. In the aftermath, Karen was voted out as HOA president. The motion passed unanimously, including Chad's vote. Grady's farm was declared a historical landmark. The chickens received official emotional support animal status. Karen moved to a condo where she was immediately fined for excessive door-knocking. The final twist? Chad filed for divorce and bought Grady's old tractor. Epilogue. A year later, the neighborhood had changed. The new HOA president was a former city slicker who now kept backyard chickens. Grady's farm became a community hub with weekly farmers markets. Karen's former mansion was painted bright pink. The new owners claimed it was accidental. And every morning, as Grady collected eggs, he'd smile at the new neighborhood sign. Welcome to Willow Ridge, where even chickens have rights.